In a small meeting room at MAF headquarters in Wellington, leaders from the primary production industry are gathering to hear the latest data, forecasting their economic outlook for the next 12 months. The annual Situation and Outlook for New Zealand Agriculture and Forestry report is intended to give our producers a better idea of what to expect in the year ahead, based on economic trends and historical precedents. As with everything, however, MAF admits there is always a margin of error in their predictions.
One thing about forecasts, any forecast, is the only thing that's certain about them is uncertainty. And in the agricultural and forestry sectors, we know a lot about uncertainty.
MAF releases figures forecasting how our primary industries should progress over the next year, with this year's focus very much being on our emergence from an international recession and the growing stature of China on global trade. Murray Sherwin, Director General of MAF, says those two factors will continue to shape the way we do business with the rest of the world.
It seems to me it is about the impact that China's been having not just on us but on the global economy, but also on volatility, which seems to have become sort of characteristic of the period that we're in commodities, and again, dairy is the place where that's been seen most strikingly over the period.
Our most important export industry, dairy, was the first to be examined, the ministry forecasting milk production and earnings to increase despite a lower than predicted payout. Darren Austin, MAF analyst, says their figures are based on a continuation of trends observed in the last few months.
We're assuming that the weather's going to be normal and there's not going to be any sort of significant droughts in the coming year, and if that happens, together with a further increase in cow numbers, we expect a pretty significant increase in New Zealand dairy production.
A $2.3 billion increase is expected for our dairy industry over the next year, and the theme of higher returns continued into the meat and wool predictions, albeit in a more gradual manner.
In terms of production, New Zealand beef production has been pretty static, and we expect only a very gradual sort of increase in beef production.
Both horticulture and wine exports topped $1 billion in revenue for the first time last year, with both industries forecast to grow further, especially as kiwifruit growers become more efficient and the wine market settles down. And finally, the report looked at our log and timber exports, predicting the continued demand from China to impact heavily on our market.
We expect, even though we've got an increase in logs being exported to China, we expect this to be sort of not enough really for China, given how they're going, and so we think prices for New Zealand logs should increase as a result.
The figures may be optimistic, but not all agribusiness experts agree with their predictions. Keith Woodford, Professor of Agribusiness at Lincoln University, says he is sceptical about any attempts to predict accurately in such a volatile industry.
I don't think anything's a safe bet. I think that things like dairy look really promising in the long term, but I still say that on a year-to-year basis there can be a fresh storm that comes up from absolutely any direction, and that's what we've got to remember. So I'm simply saying to people, plan on things not being too great. Hopefully, perhaps even probably, will be proven wrong. But that's a much better state to be in than the other way around, where you're banking on high prices and then they don't eventuate.
Even MAF admits it's difficult to look into the crystal ball of the future, but for the moment, almost all signs are pointing up. Drew Chappell, Country 99 TV News.